Which mouse-tastic cartoon character debuted in the 1928 short Steamboat Willie? Mickey Mouse. Which rebellious fashion icon of the 1920s was known for short bobbed hair and scandalous hemlines? The Flapper. What was the name of the first ever talkie movie that broke the silence in 1927? The Jazz Singer. Which musical genre defined the decade with soulful vibes and snazzy tunes? Jazz. Which legendary Yankee, the Sultan of Swat, smashed 60 home runs in 1927? Babe Ruth. What were the illegal hidden bars called during Prohibition? Speakeasy. Which Gatsby-esque masterpiece by F. Scott Fitzgerald captures the roaring jazz age? The Great Gatsby. Which wild amendment banned booze and sparked underground shenanigans? Prohibition, the 18th Amendment. Which 1920 amendment gave American women the right to vote? The 19th Amendment. Which notorious gangster ruled the Prohibition underground? Al Capone. What was the dark nickname given to the stock market crash of October 29, 1929? Black Tuesday. Which swinging dance beloved by flappers swept the 1920s? The Charleston. Which U.S. president took office in 1929 as the economy collapsed? Herbert Hoover. Which auto company introduced the Model A in 1927? Ford. Which 1920s cultural movement celebrated African American art, literature, and music in New York? The Harlem Renaissance. Which silent film star became the original It Girl after starring in the 1927 movie It? Clara Bow. Which British archaeologist discovered King Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922? Howard Carter. What iconic Charlie Chaplin silent film charmed audiences in 1921? The Kid. Which skyscraper was the world's tallest building in 1924? The Woolworth Building. Who flew solo across the Atlantic in 1927? Charles Lindbergh. What nickname described American literary rebels like Hemingway and Fitzgerald living in Paris? The Lost Generation. Which hormone was discovered in Toronto in 1921, saving millions of lives? Insulin. Which scientist accidentally discovered penicillin in 1928? Alexander Fleming. Which inventor transmitted the first electronic television image in 1927? Philo Farnsworth. Which 1925 trial debated the teaching of evolution in schools? State of Tennessee versus John Thomas Scopes. Which athlete won 5 gold medals at the 1924 Olympic Games? Paavo Nurmi. Which cuddly bear debuted in A. Milne's stories in 1926? Winnie the Pooh. Work began in 1927 on which massive monument featuring 4 U.S. presidents? Mount Rushmore. What was the name of the 1929 Chicago gangland massacre linked to Al Capone? The St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Chamonix, France, hosted the first version of which global sporting event in 1924? The Winter Olympics.